Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 60th episode of EllynwithaY goes live. I genuinely cannot believe it's been 60 episodes, so I figured I'd get a little bit dressed up. I am so excited to do my 60th episode. I cannot believe we're here. A year ago, I was doing my 10th episode and I had a cancellation. There was no one in the apartment, so I did the show completely alone. So here we are doing the show the exact same way, literally a year later. So that's kind of wild to me. And for this 60th episode, I asked if you would submit questions. I will answer them, and that will be the show this week. So the first one was, how old are you? Like, where are you from? So basics. I am 30. Yes, I'm owning it. I'm proud of it. I am 30 years old. I'm originally from New Jersey, but I live in New York. I am Italian, Sicilian, actually, and then Irish and Polish. Okay, I'm getting a lot of questions already. The hair product, thank you so much. I've never dyed my hair before, so that's part of the reason why I think my hair is so glossy and shiny, because I know people like ask me that a lot, so thank you. I really appreciate the compliment. In terms of product, I use like an all natural, or like a sulfate free, something that's better than regular, like no chemicals in my shampoo. It's like herbal essences, but it's like natural. It doesn't mess up my scalp because my scalp tends to get flaky. And then in terms of just products, I kind of use like whatever is available to me through my amazing job. We get a lot of really cool beauty products and stuff that are left on what's called the free table. So I have like all these different dry shampoos, like I have an Aveeno dry shampoo, and I have a Grace dry shampoo, or the Philosophy ones. Like I have a lot of just like product in the house. So people are asking also, where is the lipstick from? The lipstick is from, I usually have it right here, but I'll post it after the show. And I feel like I talk about this all the time. I'm wearing a ton of Honest product from Jessica Alba, who is obviously a personal friend of mine, and actually a good amount of Laura Geller. So, which I came upon when I went to the QVC headquarters with my Aunt Linda and my cousins and my mom. It was a really fun tour of QVC. Okay, so then I got a bunch of questions about how did I come to work for Refinery 29, and I kind of realized I've like talked about my job, but I don't think I've talked about how I came to my job. So I went to school for advertising and marketing, major and minor. Okay, so I cold called my would-be internship, and it was like a small publishing company in West Hartford, Connecticut. And I wound up working in this like very small events department that was exclusively contracted to Lego. And that's how I wound up working on the Lego Kids Fest, which was a national tour for Lego, where we would take over convention centers and have about 30,000 people come through the event over the course of one weekend. And it was my job to market and advertise and do press and do stand-ups on TV and prep our like Lego specialists. They were called master builders. So that was like the beginning of my career. And then my internship hired me after when I was graduating college. So 2 weeks later, I was living up in Connecticut full time, traveling, doing this tour all over the country. Fast forward, I went home about a year later. I was home visiting my parents, and my mom and I and my sister were getting our nails done. And I met this woman while we were drying our nails. And she asked me what I was doing and what was my career. And I told her, and we talked a lot about it. And she gave me her card, and she's like, I think I have a job for you. So reach out to me, send me your resume, send me your stuff, and like, let's see what happens. And about 3 weeks later, I was offered a job at Fairchild Fashion Media, which was Women's Wear Daily, Style.com, Beauty Inc., it's all these brands underneath the umbrella of Fairchild Fashion Media. 3 weeks, offered a job, broke my lease, moved from Connecticut back home to my parents' house, and started commuting into Manhattan every single day, working in luxury fashion, which was a huge change from working at Lego. Fast forward through company mergers and company sales and merging staff. So I was at Style.com, and then Style.com folded up into Vogue through Vogue Runway. And so I wound up working at Vogue for a little over 2 years. And it's really a very funny way to wind up working at a brand that I know a lot of people like would die to work at, and I kind of just found myself there. It very much felt like how did I get here? Because it was never really a dream of mine. Working at Style and working at Vogue were incredible experiences for me because it really helped to elevate what good looked like to me and the level of excellence and expectation of excellence that was expected at those brands. So there was a role at Refinery that looked similar to what I do, which is I live in the in-between of editorial and revenue in media and publishing. That's like church and state. And I very much live on a very fine line of real estate, helping the two work together and being strategic about it. So it's been a wild ride, my career. I've been very fortunate to be kind of at the crux of luck with a lot of hard work to back it up. And I'm super, super grateful for my job at Refinery. I've talked a lot about it, that I wish I could gift the experience of working at Refinery to people, because when I was at Style and Vogue, I was constantly taking in information about luxury fashion and, aspirational lifestyle. And I could name quite a few of the models that were walking the runway, and I knew the brands and the lead designers and when a designer would exit. And I was very intimately aware of a space that didn't exactly interest me. I was aware of it and I was very engaged in my job and I was very good at it, but I just didn't love fashion in that way. And so I knew I wanted to work somewhere that if I'm constantly reading and consuming the content, one, it would have to be interesting to me, but two, it have to be useful. I felt like such a millennial saying this, but it was about 4 years ago at this point. And I just wanted to feel like the work I was working on mattered in a bigger way. And so that's why when Refinery, the opportunity came along, I was super excited because I felt like I could help contribute to making a difference in people's lives. And I feel like I've done that in the last 4 years, but even more so, I feel like Refinery has changed me for the better. I've become more open in a way that I can express what I'm feeling. I can actually put the words to what I'm feeling and saying, whether it be representation or just speaking for myself and advocating for myself. Having body positivity be a part of the conversation and not feeling like such an outsider for not being this stick thin person. And having been on both sides, because I am plus size, but I've also been pretty thin. When I was at the end of my college years and the beginning of my 20s, I was pretty small, single size jeans type small. And so I've been on both sides of it, and it offers a very, very, very unique perspective on the world. Maybe that's a whole other episode because there you get to see and hear a lot of things that maybe you wish you hadn't heard or seen when you are particularly thinner. But I think just working at Refinery was a super huge blessing. I have an incredible group of friends I would never have met otherwise, and friends outside of work and friends that I'm super, super grateful and I will be friends with for forever. So it really is the place that gave me the confidence to sit in front of the camera, because I always wanted to do this. So without Refinery, I don't know that I would have gotten here, and I don't think I would have gotten here any sooner. So I have Refinery to thank for that. Okay, so then I have a couple of quick fun questions. If I could have any other career, what would it be? If I was not if I didn't have the inclination to entertain and be in front of the camera and make people laugh, I would be a dermatologist. I love all the pimple popping videos, or maybe just a plastic surgeon. Actually, let's be real, a plastic surgeon. I love watching plastic surgery videos. I know this is not possible and I would never test the theory, but I do think that I could perform a couple of surgeries just having watched. Okay, so you guys asked about my beauty and my skin routine. I feel really bad sometimes about when I say I don't really do that much for my skin and for my hair, but I always remind people that, everyone has their thing that they're dealing with, right? So you may have complex skin and you may have hair that you're not happy with, but the grass isn't greener, it's just a different color green, right? So if I could wish away any kind of body acceptance issue that I deal with on a day-to-day basis, or if I could snap my fingers, or if I could take a pill, or if I could rub a cream that would just make me feel better in my skin every day, because it's not every day that I feel terrible and it's not every day that I feel great. It's a mix in between. But so that's something I think about all the time. So if you're walking past the mirror and you're seeing complex skin and you think about it all the time, I get it. And it's really I talk about this with my friends all the time. There's a layer to being plus size that's not acceptable in society, whereas everyone can get pimples. But there's just something about being the butt of a joke quite often that is demoralizing. So I appreciate that you appreciate I have good skin and I've got good hair, and I am so grateful for it, because I know that it's so hard for so many people. I've got my own baggage to carry around. And so, you know, just like think about it from a couple different perspectives, and the grass is not always greener. I also am like very admittedly ill-equipped at handling a pimple when I do get one, because it's always a stress pimple and it's huge and it always leaves a scar. I have a scar on my forehead from it. I have a scar here. You can't see it because I have 10 pounds of makeup on. Okay, so, in my skin routine, I've literally used Proactive since I was 16. And if it's pimple related, it's definitely, I use Proactive. And then if it's every day, I use like this Origins product that my friend Emilee gave me when she was working at Estee. And I use like some retinol A thing, I think. I don't remember. My hair products, yeah, I don't really use that much. I don't use that much. Honestly, it's like whatever somebody gives me at work. If Kat Quinn, if you're watching, things you've given me definitely are still in my repertoire. The beauty director for Refinery. Okay, so my favorite books. I think a favorite book of mine that I read recently was Discovery of Witches, which was a series I watched. It was really good. It like mixed together history and like fantasy and like a love story, which I really like historical fictions. If I had a reality show, what would it be about? If I had a reality show, it would literally be like Keeping Up with the Kardashians. It would be a camera crew that follows me. If you have ever lived with me, anyone in the comments that's ever lived with me, you know the things I say off the cuff are the best things. I can never recreate them. They're never as good on the show. It's never as good when I'm on stage performing it. I just like say things off the cuff. They are funny. I wish I could record them. Maybe I should start a vlog, but it would be literally me following me through my life and the like stuff that happens. I did get Most Likely to have her own reality show from my sorority formal when I was a senior. FYI, I was very proud of that. Okay, if you had another talent, what would it be? That's sweet. It says have another talent. So that's very kind. Thank you, Lynn. I wish I never gave up on playing the piano. I would love to be able to just like sit down and just like bang out a song. Also, I tried to learn the guitar when I was like, I think in 8th grade. I also gave that up. As I've gotten older, I'm so much more open to learning and trying new things. And I feel like, I don't know, maybe we should like reverse education. Like you should learn just like human skills when you're little and then like things that interest you later in life. Yeah, Kat, you could teach me to play piano. I would love that. Okay, if I could be trapped in a Netflix show, which would it be? I kind of am stuck between two. The first would be On My Block, because I just know I would like to be friends with some of the characters on that show. They're just really funny. Like Ruby, I would love to be just like friends with Ruby and Jasmine and Jamal. Oh my God, Jamal. I would love to be friends with those guys. It's a very intense place, so it might be difficult. And then I also think Sex Education would be a cool place to live as a show, just because it's really beautiful there. And also I love British comedy and humor and just sense of timing. I think I'd really enjoy it there. I also just like how like forward thinking the show is. So I feel like that would be a really interesting place to be stuck as well. And also there's like no impending like doom in Sex Education. It's just like people and life. How are they walking everywhere though? I know, I would have to have a car if I was living in Sex Education. What would my first meal after quarantine be? Sushi. I haven't had sushi the entire quarantine, which is like a huge shock because that's like my favorite food group is sushi. I don't usually order sushi that much. I usually get it for lunch. So like, because I'm not ordering sushi for lunch to work, I'm just not eating a lot of sushi. I usually don't order it for dinner and I miss it a lot and I can't wait to have it again. And maybe I'll just order it for myself. Like what is holding me back? I don't know. Okay, how do I stay positive? What's a routine to get in a good headspace? I don't know that I'm always positive. I think that I think I am positive. I think I default to positive. A lot of the times I will always like give someone a silver lining. In my head, I think I'm a lot more negative. So sometimes I have a hard time like accepting that I am perceived perhaps as like a more positive or uplifting person, which I know is kind of crazy, but but like, don't we all just kind of have like our idea of ourselves and then like what's real and like you have like a narrative that you tell yourself and then you have like what's the truth and then you kind of have to like reconcile between the two. So am I always positive and happy? Definitely not. I think that's where my sarcasm comes from, is like a way to cope with the world. What do I do to get happy? I go and do a lot of self-care, which is a manicure, a pedicure, maybe a massage, getting my legs waxed, doing that kind of self-care stuff where I feel like I'm taking care of myself and investing in myself. Like that makes me feel better. That makes me feel like rejuvenated. I think also seeing friends and my family where I'm an extroverted introvert, which everyone has a really hard time believing, but like I charge introvertedly. I like gain energy from being by myself quiet so that I can do this. So that when I'm out with all of my friends, or like when I'm out with you and I'm fun and I'm personality and I'm like contributing to the conversation, that's because I've had enough time to recharge and, you know, treat myself well so that I can get to the place of where I can like give and share myself. I think Eddie, actually, you sent me a really good Instagram post, having a good vibe, and you don't have to share that vibe with everyone. And I think that like there is some truth to that. And like you don't have to give your light to everybody. And you kind of have to, you know, protect it and foster the flame, right? So like being home, this is a lot of a home time, I will say. I don't hate it though. But it also, coupled with how stressed I am with work and all other things going on, this isn't ideal. I don't think anyone's like truly thriving. I think we're all just surviving right now. I listen to podcasts, like I listen to Dax Shepard's podcast, Armchair Expert, where they're constantly talking about like mental health and how you treat others and where you get self-esteem from. And I think always listening to that podcast is like a touchstone for me of checking in with myself and also constantly learning about like bettering myself, but not bettering myself like, oh, I want to be a better person, I want to speak more languages, I want to travel more. Like bettering myself is like the way I talk to myself, the way I carry myself in my life, the way I treat other people around me, the way that I support people around me. And then couple that with going to therapy, and that's how I am able to, I think, walk on this planet. I think you need to prioritize taking care of yourself. Whatever that looks like to you, you need to do it. Like I love taking baths. I used to really love working out, and I was like a super fitness in the gym, like every day of the week, and it really brought me joy. And I kind of have fallen off of that. And that's okay, because it's not bringing me joy, because it brings me pressure right now, because I feel like I should be as good as I once was in the gym because I was that good. I'm just like working on getting my head and my heart to be aligned in that I don't have to be as good as I once was when I was in the gym, and it's just to go to feel good in that day, in that workout, in that moment. That's all there is. There's no like end goal. There's no like, if I look better when, or in 6 months I'll have lost. Like I still deal with that all the time. I'm constantly thinking about that kind of stuff. No one's ever fixed. Your brain is like a constant state of being. Like you're constantly in a state of flux. So like I'm always going to be thinking about, do I look okay? Do I need to lose weight? Should I lose weight? When am I gonna, like, it's just like where my head is. And that's kind of maybe like where my head is right now. And I feel like I go back and forth with like, how do I feel about myself, and how do I feel about wanting to work out? And is it just because I want to work out and feel good, or is it because I feel pressure to look a certain way? And it's so, you overuse the word woke, but I think the idea that you're like awake and paying attention, the idea that you are not just on this hamster wheel of life, not paying attention, numbing yourself and ignoring a lot of the things happening around you. Like I did that for a long time, and I'm not doing that anymore. So I'm like awake. I'm fully living my life. And sometimes it hurts and it's not fun and you want to cry all the time. And sometimes it's great and like that, but that's life. Like you can't just be numb the whole time and not do anything. So that's how this show came to be. So the last question is basically, what did you want to be when you were 5? And how did the show start? That's kind of the same. So I think when I was like 4 or 5, I told my parents I wanted to be bigger than Madonna. I don't know if that meant like a pop star singing on stage. I don't know if that just meant more famous than Madonna. I'm not entirely sure what the motive behind it was at such a young age. It also truly reveals how old I am. I think I always just wanted to entertain people, and I always wanted to be able to provide like a smile and laughter and entertainment. I think I've always been an entertainer my whole life. I wanted to be taller than Madonna. That's funny. I put on little shows for my family with my cousins. And I'd collect tickets. And then as I got older, I did, local community theater. I had a vocal coach growing up. In high school, I did theater every year for the most part, except for senior year. Creative differences. There was like 7 of us in theater, I have to say. There was not much to leave. Theater girls for life. Yes, everybody. Everyone that was on stage, what up? You were always awesome in front of behind the camera. Oh, you're all so sweet. I wish I had your stage confidence. It's funny, stage confidence and just confidence, 2 very different things. My sister says you were the lead actress and I was the narrator. That's so cute. So yeah, I always wanted to be in front of the camera and entertain. And then I went to college, and instead of going to college for acting, because I didn't know that could be a future, especially having been plus size and just like feeling like my body didn't look right and you had to be this like stick thin Misha Barton from the OC. Like that's what I had. That's what I saw. Like One Tree Hill, like Hillary Burton, like that's what was available to me. I didn't see anything else. That's what we saw growing up. And so I didn't know that you could look like me and be in front of a camera. And even when I was thin and lost all this weight in high school and in college, like I still didn't think that I had the body that could be in front of a camera because I felt like I was always going to have to hide the fact that I had lost weight. And so I just counted myself out and I went to college for the fallback plan, which I'm like type A and I'm smart and I'm a good business person. And so I've succeeded in my career, but that was never like my passion. And so I think something that I learned is just don't go to school for a fallback plan, because like you can't plan to fall back. You need to plan to succeed. So then fast forward to working at Refinery, a couple of on-air, on-camera talent opportunities came my way, because we cast internal talent all the time. You can like raise your hand and say you want to be in something. It's like that inclusive and that welcoming an environment. And I got the opportunity to do a couple videos, like fun, like vlog style. Here, watch me as I crimp my hair for 3 days. I did a couple of videos. I did one with my dad where my dad did my hair for 2 days. I also got to interview Brittany Snow from Pitch Perfect, which was super fun. And that was, I think, the first time that I was like, oh yeah. Like I always in my mind was like, oh, I could be Juliana Rancic. Like in my head, I was like, I could do that. But I never did anything. I never activated against it. And then fall of 2018, I kind of just feel like I woke up to my life in a new way. And I was like, no, if I want to be in front of the camera, I'm going to put myself in front of the camera. And so I did a lot more. I was very vocal about wanting to be in front of the camera. In January, I was like, let's do a show. My friend Emilee helped me. She's from my style.com days. It just kind of took off from there. And what was originally just supposed to be a show about hot topics and what to watch and all my like things that I liked was very light. And I had all these interviews, and the interviews are what I was really getting passionate about. And so I have the first half of the show and it's fun and it really fuels me, but the interview portion is really super fun for me because I love that everybody has a unique story. Even if you don't think you have a story, which I find very interesting, that some people don't think that they have an interesting story to tell, when to me it's like right there, I can see it and I have so many questions. Sometimes even people that I'm like super close with, like family members, and I can just like ask them things that maybe I had never asked them before, because your relationships become so informal you don't even ask certain things. And at some point the show evolved. I think I kind of wanted to create a window into the world that maybe I didn't have when I was young, where there are so many options for careers, ways to live your life. It's not this like black and white, go to college, get a job, meet someone, fall in love, have a kid, move to the suburbs, raise the kid. Like it doesn't have to be that. That's not the only path. You can have a career that fills you with joy and pride and confidence, and you can live in the city, or you can live in the suburbs, or you can have no kids, or you can get married, or you can not get married, or you can be in music production, or you could be a photographer or an engineer, or you could be an author. I have a friend who's literally a published author now. You can literally do anything, but if you don't know that you can do anything, and it doesn't feel like you can do anything, and you don't see somebody who looks like you, it's hard. I feel like sometimes people hear like, oh, representation matters, but like it doesn't feel as real as it should. It's so important to know you can do anything. Sometimes I feel like you need someone to be able to tell you like you can do anything. You literally can. You can truly do anything you want to do. There are careers you would never even dream of. Like I didn't know, like I don't know, when I went to school it felt very like nurse, teacher, like lawyer, doctor. There's very like titled jobs and titled lives, like wife, mother, husband, father, like, and I just there's a lot of options in this world, and you have one life. And I get so like choked up about it because I think for so long I feel like I was just like turned off to like saying what I wanted out of life. You really can have whatever you want. It's freaking terrifying. I have to say, like, I think the craziest thing is being afraid of your dreams because they really are that big. And I'm like terrified because I love being comfortable. I do want to be a late night talk show host and take one of the spots of the 3 white Jimmys or Jameses. Like, I think that the world is ready for that. I would love to take Ellen DeGeneres' place when she's ready to go. Like, not anytime sooner. I will wait for that. You know, I would love to host the Oscars. Like, I would love to do that stuff. You know, I watch those shows and there's a part of me that's like sad because I never really pushed and pursued that world, but that doesn't mean that it can't be. And so that's what I think the show did and changed. At some point, it was like a way to wake up. You know, go and take whatever life has and then push for more, because you can. You have to speak it into existence. You know, and sometimes you believe it. Like, I really feel like I lived in that headspace when I was in my early 20s, and just life happened and things happened and life got busy and I jumped on the hamster wheel and I kind of just like turned off the like real fire and I just pursued career, but it wasn't one that was like truly my passion. And it wasn't until I got to Refinery that I felt like I was the most like myself at my day job. And then that's where my passion and my desire for what I really wanted my life to look like woke up. No one said this is gonna be a tearjerker. I don't know, guys. Sometimes I get emotional. It's also very weird for me. I feel like a lot of people are not used to seeing me cry. I'm very afraid of being vulnerable, or I used to be. And now I feel like I'm ripping a Band-Aid and trying to be vulnerable more because it's not weakness, even though that's what it has been in my head for a long time. Thank you for speaking for those who are still in the hamster wheel. I totally get that. Needed my tissues last week and this week. Oh my gosh. Because, guys, I'm like crying in my apartment alone. What the fuck? It's like you have one life. And it's so hard to remember that in like the day to day, and you're tired, and I'm struggling even now. Like I said last week, like I'm not always there. I'm not always happy. I'm not always in the best mood. I'm not always uplifted, but like, it's just trying to remind yourself as often as you can, just be awake to your life and the choices you're making and where you want to go and what you want to do and where you want to be. And also enjoying the journey along the way. I would not trade what got me here, the shitty stuff too, because it all prepared me for being where I am right now. And it's not all sunshine and rainbows. And I don't ever want anyone to think that I'm like sitting here happy all the time. That's not real. Real is messy and can be difficult and can be really hard to talk about, and you sometimes don't even want to put words to the thought or the feeling, but at least you're alive and awake and doing something in the direction of what you want to be and where you want to be and who you want to be. Okay, we're not crying anymore. I'm super grateful, and I hope that this show offers a positive distraction, and I hope that because that's what I want to do. I don't really want it to be in any way like negative or bring you down. It should always bring you up. It should always make you smile. It should make you think. It should make you feel good. DM me, comment, tell me like what you want to see more of. And I love you all, and I really appreciate it if you guys like this show, which I think some of you do. Definitely share it with your friends. I would appreciate it. The show's been doing really well since we've been in quarantine, because everyone that usually has to wake up super duper early is watching live, so I appreciate you. Thank you all so much for watching. This has been the 60th episode of EllynwithaY Goes Live. Thank you for tuning in. I hope this brought you some joy and put a smile on your face. I'll see you next week. Hi everyone, thanks for watching. To subscribe to my channel, click here. And to watch more videos, click here. Be sure to like, comment, and hit the bell so you get notified every time I upload a video. Choosing